Morning. How's everyone doing? All right, let me try differently, maybe a different strategy. Willkommen, guten Morgen.
Guten Morgen.
Bit better. Really excited to be here with all of you at CommunityLIVE in Munich, representing, as Malte very aptly put it, all of EMEA. We have incredible amounts of innovations to share with all of you today. A lot of exciting updates during these uniquely exciting times in our industry. We have not just innovation updates, but I'm super excited to share some updates in our leadership that are taking the helm of these key innovations and realizing against our vision and our strategy. And our leadership is here in Munich to connect with all of you. Lots to share, but before I start, a question that I want to ask all of you, given these uniquely and exciting and transformative times, is throughout human history, an easy question, throughout human history, can you think of a technology that has completely transformed humanity? Can you think of an innovation that has completely transformed humanity? For me, it's electricity. What humanity was like before electricity versus after electricity is completely different. Electricity transformed how we work, how we live, how we play, how we learn, and it did it globally. And it's been around forever. We have been observing it, we have been working with it, and then in the 1800s, Volta built the first cell, which was the foundations to the modern battery. But it wasn't till Tesla created alternating current, combined with long-range distribution, that electricity was really harnessed for its full potential. Alternating current made long-range distribution possible. Combined with this infrastructure, what was delivered, what was realized, is ubiquitous electricity. And once electricity became ubiquitous, everything changed. Industries transformed. What you built, how you innovated, the technologies you brought to market, the value you delivered, how we lived our lives, it all completely changed once electricity was ubiquitous. What's ubiquitous these days is everybody's talking about AI. Everybody's talking about artificial intelligence and your favorite agent builder or this, that, and the other. But AI has existed for decades, the equivalent of centuries in the tech world. We were researching models, we were prototyping things in the 1950s. We built the first chatbot in the 1960s. And there were innovations in compute, innovations in hardware, in model development. But it wasn't until the generalized pre-trained transformer was consumerized by OpenAI with ChatGPT, our collective ChatGPT event, combined with recent agentic AI innovations around automation, that we are now in an incredibly exciting time of ubiquitous intelligence and automation. And much like ubiquitous electricity, we're in an era that promises to completely transform how we work, how we live, how we play. We're seeing some of it in our personal lives as we embrace various Gen AI-powered offerings. And today we're going to share with you how we at Hyland are innovating to bring a lot of these innovations to realize ubiquitous intelligence and automation in your organization, to empower you to serve your customers with much greater value and outcomes. But to start, What is ubiquitous enterprise intelligence and automation? Let's start with intelligence. It's a connected and contextual understanding of your organization's operations. It's a connected and contextual understanding of your people and the decisions they make, connected to the data that they rely on to make those decisions, connected to the business processes that operate your organization, connected to the systems that your organization relies on to operate. It is a real-time contextual understanding of all of these dimensions related together that you now have a view of your organization's operations, its actions, its decisions, and what it relies on, and the people that are operating it. Ubiquitous enterprise intelligence. And what's ubiquitous enterprise automation? It's a pervasive computing service that is coordinating, collaborating, deciding, and acting together to drive automation as and when you need it across your organization. It's elastically scalable, it's standards-based, so it's open and interoperable. It has to be governed. Governance is critical. Security is paramount. But transparency is essential to give you and your organization confidence in scaling it out. And while we're in this era, there was a great report by MIT that over the last few years, $40 billion has been invested in the enterprise, global enterprises, on Gen AI projects, and 95% of them have failed. The 5% that did succeed realized millions of dollars in outcomes for their organization, but 95% failed. And why was that? Really, it came down to a lack of contextual understanding of an organization, resulting in an inability to make decisions and take actions to realize those agentic outcomes through lack of integration. We agree. We, in fact, last year, when we launched our Content Innovation Cloud here in Europe, we shared that your content and data landscape is more fragmented than ever before. And your content and data continue to grow exponentially, both in volume as well as in fragmentation of sources. Very hard to build context as your landscape continues to fragment. As a result, your workflows are fragmented, and therefore your business processes are more fragmented than ever before, and that continues to grow. And your application experiences are more fragmented than ever before. And not only are your applications more fragmented, your people. In this remote hybrid world we now live in, your people are more fragmented than ever before. But what's uniquely exciting, what gets me fired up, is that despite all this fragmentation, you have been building the foundations for ubiquitous intelligence and automation. Whether or not you realize that we collectively have been innovating and building the foundations for ubiquitous intelligence and automation for your organization. Today, I'll share with you how we are innovating and building this foundation of AI in support of your organizations. How we are going to power enterprise AI and realize ubiquitous intelligence for your organizations, and how we're innovating to realize your agentic enterprise future through innovations that realize ubiquitous, pervasive automation. Let's start with building the foundation. I mentioned that we have been on this journey together. As the leader in content management, in content services, you have entrusted us collectively, our customers globally have entrusted us with hundreds of petabytes of the most mission-critical data for the most regulated and mission-critical industries globally. We are the trusted custodians of this data to ensure it is governed and appropriately accessed by the right people for the right purposes. This is unstructured data that Anthropic, Mistral, OpenAI would die to get their hands on, but they can't. Our customers have entrusted us with this to ensure that it is governed and used appropriately. On this foundation of the most mission-critical unstructured data in thousands of organizations globally, we are operating, you have built, and we are operating millions of workflows daily, mission-critical business processes. In fact, over 500 million decisions get orchestrated. Millions of workflows are running to operate your organizations, and on that, you are delivering optimized application experiences for your line of business so they understand the state of their business, the KPIs, and can operate their business with confidence with the appropriate application experiences. And collectively, it was a fun exercise. We've done the math on this. Collectively, while we have innovated and we have been building this foundation across unifying content, enabling you to build out mission-critical business processes with specific workflows and deliver application experiences, we are enabling over 500 million people, empowering them through Hyland innovations and your innovations globally by supporting, enabling all of you and enabling you to empower all that you serve, your customers. 500 million people globally. And that's why we have the unique honor of being the largest enterprise content leader globally that is exclusively focused on the meaty problem of unstructured data, exclusively focused on empowering you to unlock incredible new value and outcomes for your organization and for all of those that you serve. 1.2 billion in revenue. 14,000 customers globally, best-in-class customer loyalty at 96% renewal rates. We're implementing thousands of projects, thousands of implementations annually, directly as well as through our 100-strong, thriving partner network globally. Many of you here in this room today. This is possible in large part because of something very unique as an ECM leader, as a content services leader, is our depth of industry expertise in the industries we've very intentionally picked, the most regulated, the most challenging, whether it's healthcare, banking, insurance, government, higher education. We have built out incredible expertise to realize mission-critical outcomes through content data. And what we're doing now is AI enabling your content, AI enabling your processes, AI enabling your application experiences so that we can AI enable you, AI enable your organization and all of those that you serve. This is why we launched the Content Innovation Cloud last year. This new vision to redefine what content management means and the value it serves for your organization. Built on a federated architecture of content federation services, governance, and AI, we are connecting to any Hyland repository. OnBase, Alfresco, Nuxio, Perceptive, or any other repository within your organization, recognizing this fragmented landscape. And we're AI enabling it on a foundation of governance to realize AI-enabled content, AI-enabled processes, and AI-enabled applications to power all of you. And last year, on this vision and strategy, we also shared a very detailed roadmap of milestones. For every service that we're going to be launching, every milestone, whether it was a beta or a GA, for each cloud and AI service. And so now the question is, how do we do? To help me answer that question, please join me in welcoming our Chief Product Officer, Mike Campbell. Mike, come on up.
Morning.
Welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
So, Mike, before I present the question of how we did, why don't you share a bit with our community here about you, your background, and why Hyland?
Sure, happy to. So, Mike Campbell, I'm a product guy. I've spent the past 3 decades working in enterprise software, largely in the engineering space. Actually, had the chance to visit Munich many times as part of that role. But I've really built my career with a clear focus on unlocking value through the power of technology. Whether those are sophisticated engineering use cases or other use cases in the enterprise, what motivates me is to find a better way. So to answer the question, why am I here at Hyland? What am I excited about? You just presented it, right? The opportunity that we have to apply AI to all of the advantages that you already have and drive meaningful value, drive meaningful outcomes is just too great to pass by. Over the course of my career, I've participated, many of you have as well, in lots of technology waves. Desktop computing, the web, others that are less relevant, social, mobile. But this one is huge, and I'm thrilled to be here working with you and the rest of the leadership team to help get value out of it.
Well, I know we're thrilled to have you. I know you've been here a few months, but heavy is the head that wears the crown. As Chief Product Officer, we shared this comprehensive roadmap. How'd the team do?
Well, the team did very well. If we go back and take a look at it, I'm thrilled to tell you that across every area, every committed deliverable, the team delivered. So really impressive. In the core services, we introduced and delivered Content Federation for OnBase, SharePoint, Nuxio, and Alfresco are both imminent. We deliver the Cloud Update Service, which allows easier upgrades for our OnBase installations. In Content Intelligence, we delivered the first versions of knowledge enrichment, knowledge discovery. We made dramatic improvements across process automation, our process intelligence realm, with improvements to automate as well as the introduction of IDP. And then in the application intelligence area, we delivered everything that we had committed to. So at the beginning of the year, we set out to deliver 17 net new offerings this year. As of last Friday, we delivered the 14th of those 17, and the other 3 are on track for the rest of the year. I'd call that relentless execution, and I'm so proud of what the team has done.
Super, super proud of the team. Incredible outcomes, but while we've been delivering this innovation, we are in Europe. There is this thing called data sovereignty. How are we getting these incredible cloud and AI services to our community here?
Great question, and we're thrilled to announce that just in the last month, we have delivered the Content Innovation Cloud here in Europe. So now it is available with faster experiences, of course, better performance, lower latency. It's available in localized languages, 8 of the major languages here in Europe, and also, of course, within region processing, right? So protecting your data sovereignty. All of that is now available live here, specifically in the Central European region.
So the roadmap deployed in production live, all of these new services live in region out of Frankfurt.
Out of Frankfurt, indeed.
And so how does everybody get to see all this amazing innovation?
We're going to show it right now.
Awesome, awesome.
So please join me in welcoming my colleague Colleen Albert, to the stage. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me, Mike, and hello, everyone. I'm excited to share what we've been working on for the past year here at Hyland. Specifically, I'm going to demo an insurance-specific example of just some of our Content Innovation Cloud, or CIC services that we've delivered. Everything I'm about to show you is available now for you to start using within your organization. Our story today centers around a claims processing department at a medium-sized private health insurance company right here in Germany. And they process hundreds of thousands of pieces of claims correspondence annually that has to be processed manually. And we, together, are going to intelligently automate that process, resulting in millions of euros saved. So now, while my demo today is insurance-specific, I think you'll find that this agentic mailroom concept applies in most industries. Ready
Let's
to
take a look.
All right, let's do it.
So we're going to switch over to the demonstration.
As I log into the Content Innovation Cloud, you'll notice a fresh, modern take on UI. And I'm in the role of a solution builder in our studio modeling interface. So for those that are new, this is the behind-the-scenes configuration of AI-powered services. And we're going to start with Intelligent Document Processing, or IDP. And this uses not just OCR tools, but AI agents for document separation, classification, and extraction. In the case of our medical claims correspondence project, we have previously configured some classifications for some of the most common content types. But I want to show you all just how easy it is to configure a new class. All I need to do for this refund request is type the name of the document type. I don't have to describe what this document is or what it looks like. I don't have to configure a template, and I don't have to train the agent, which means that these solutions are up and running in a fraction of the time. So now that our classification configuration is complete, let's import some documents and give it a test run. But before I do, I want to mention our Content Federation service. So we built the CIC, or the Content Innovation Cloud, with all of you, our Hyland customers, in mind. Notice this alfresco in the upper right-hand corner. We have opportunities to import sample documents as well as import configuration. So we can leverage alfresco content types, connecting them to CIC IDP.
Okay, so we're leveraging alfresco here, connecting to alfresco.
Yep.
What about the other repositories? We've got many folks in the room, for example, that are using OnBase.
Yeah, we have a Content Federation service that exists today for OnBase, Nuxio coming soon, as well as a Content Federation service for non-Hyland repositories such as SharePoint, seamlessly connecting these two worlds as a single integrated cloud platform. All right, so let's bring those files in as I promised. And I'm going to grab just a few here from my desktop, but of course, these documents can get ingested in a variety of ways, whether it's fax, email, paper, electronic, you name it. If we take a look at our sample batch, you'll see that I imported those 3 documents. But I want to draw your attention to our mobile upload packet. This is a single file comprised of individual document types. We're going to split that up or separate it into individual files. When I click to separate and classify, our AI agents get to work looking at the documents, identifying what they are, and separating that single file into the individual document type classifications. I mean, just unbelievable. This was often a challenge for capture products of the past, but not anymore. All right, my friends. Now we're going to get to the fun stuff, the metadata extraction. And we'll start at the top here with our invoice. If you recall, this was the content type that we connected from alfresco. And if you notice on the right, our extraction agent did an absolutely incredible job of extracting those values right off the page. We didn't have to enter any of those keyword values or properties. It just knew what to do. The next document I'll highlight is our doctor letter. And before we get into the metadata extraction, I want you to notice two things. The first, that this letter is in Spanish. The second is that it is handwritten. And now, before I go ahead and start entering individual keyword values, I'm going to ask our extraction agent to suggest metadata fields for me. And just like that, I mean, head explosion moment. It extracted all of these values, suggested just by looking at the document what to extract with a high degree of confidence.
So just by looking at the Spanish handwritten document, the agent was able to extract this information.
Yeah, it's suggesting values for us by looking at the document and reasoning, like, what would reasonable metadata fields be here? It's reading handwriting, and then it's translating that Spanish handwriting into English keyword values.
What do you think?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it is absolutely wild. I've been in this industry a long time, and I am blown away by the power of this technology. It even gave us an AI summary of the document here in English. So I'm going to add a field just to show you how easy it is. And what's unique about this next value that I want to extract, I want to know, is this letter signed by the doctor? And I'm going to ask for a simple yes-no value. And now what you'll notice about this is that this is not text that is printed on the document. We're asking our extraction agent to reason or reasonably determine if this document has been signed. It looks at the document, makes it an evaluation, and with a high degree of confidence, it indicates that yes, this letter was signed by the doctor. And then we can use this confidence level downstream to determine if we want humans to review. Now, at this stage, our IDP configuration is complete. And it's time to continue on with our process. In the case of our medical claims correspondence, all we need to do is open our process. Our IDP and automate BPMN tools are tightly coupled, so one flows right into the other. In this case, we're using a predefined solution template to further process these documents. And I'll draw your attention to a few highlights. We are doing data validation and lookups against Alfresco. And in the case where we want a human user to review, we are building those screens automatically. And at this point, the majority of our intake workload has been automated, and all of these documents now that we've captured flow right into Alfresco to continue the process. So at this stage, let's level set. We know something about these documents. We know what they are. Now it's time for us to take action and actually do something with them. Which brings me to the biggest Hyland headline of the year, the release of Agent Builder, allowing us to build AI agents to take action, to replace some of the manual human steps, to work these documents for us. And creating an agent is as simple as giving it a name, Hyland agent, creating that agent and beginning the configuration process in my own natural language, telling this agent what I want it to do. And by the way, we can create forms and processes in this same way, in natural human language. But sticking with our story, and in the interest of time, I'm going to draw your attention to two agents that I've previously created. Our first agent, does routing and prioritization. And it was built with Claude, but all of Hyland's content intelligence products are LLM agnostic, meaning that you can choose from industry-leading models or bring your own. And in this case, this particular agent is going to review all of the incoming claims correspondence to determine what do we need to do, what actions are required, and set a priority. And it's going to do so based on a policy we've provided it. Here's what you need to do, as well as respecting any guardrails we've put in place. Here's what's not to do. Our second agent in the chain looks at that correspondence, summarizes the request, outlines next steps, and takes action. And in this case, we're going to use an Alfresco MCP server.
All right, Colleen, maybe for the audience's benefit, talk a little bit more about what an MCP server is. Yes. What is that?
Yeah, great question. MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. It's basically an API for AI agents. It allows AI systems and applications to talk to non-AI systems and applications and go between. It's essentially an open standard that allows all of our systems and applications to communicate in a standard and secure way. Okay, so now at this stage, we have our 2 agents configured and ready to go. So you might be now wondering, well, how do these agents that we just created in the CIC elevate the existing business process workflows that you already have in place? Anyone wondering that? Maybe, yes, a little bit. All right. Well, all we have to do is connect the 2, replacing what was formerly a manual human step with our chain of agents. Okay, so we're going to go in next to our Alfresco digital workspace and take a look at our medical claims correspondence library. Now, what we've done is we've taken those 2 agents and we've attached them or allow them to execute as rules in our Alfresco Content Services platforms right on the folder hierarchy. But now remember, what would someone have to have done in the past? They'd have to go into the folder, open up each item, and take action, make a decision. That's a lot of time and energy. Now what we've done is we've set our rule to invoke our agent instead. So we see the rules against this folder, and all we had to do to connect the 2 was to set the universally unique ID of the agent that we built in the CIC as part of the rule activity taking place on this folder. Now, when a document enters that folder, the agent is going to take the first pass.
So we've injected the agent essentially into the workflow here in Alfresco using rules for folders. Where else can we use agents that are being built with Agent Builder?
We can use and insert these agents into any application, any system that can call a REST API, whether it's a Hyland or a non-Hyland system.
Oh, fantastic.
Big deal.
Let's see what happens.
All right. So would you like to see this agent in action? Yes. Yes. You only had 2 choices, yes or yes. So I'm glad I said yes. All right. So we'll close out of here and we'll enter our Alfresco agentic mailroom. I mean, how cool is that to say? So we have an application for our medical claims correspondence. And this Alfresco dashboard is built using the very powerful Alfresco development framework to create something custom. But for all of my OnBase fans and fanatics out there, you can use the OnBase app builder to build a very similar, personalized, streamlined, modern interface. So let's orient ourselves. All of these boxes represent queues of items to be reviewed. And we're looking at this under the lens of that claims specialist. And at first glance, you're probably looking at this thinking, wow, some of those numbers are pretty big. Well, remember our volumes, hundreds of thousands of pieces of correspondence a year. So they've got a lot of volume. And the second, don't forget, our agent has taken a first pass already, triaged these items, and done some of the work for us. If we drive into our invoices where we're requesting reimbursement, specifically this high priority item for Mary, our agent that we just created in the CIC has done the work of summarizing this request, identified next steps, and given us the reason for the evaluation, building trust and confidence, also known as explainable AI, which we've built all throughout the CIC, not just here in this agent's activity. And now all of this information that our agent has provided us about the item in front of us will certainly help the human user to make the best possible decision as they review. But we're going to do one better. In this particular case, the insurance company, before they reimburse this claim, they want to be sure that they have a doctor letter of medical necessity. Was this procedure required? They also want to be sure that they have proof of payment. Did the patient pay the claim or pay the invoice before we reimburse them? Our agent is going to do the work of finding those documents in Alfresco for us. I'm going to let that just sit there for a second. The agent did the work of finding the documents.
So we have eliminated some relatively mundane work. We've used the agent to provide a higher level of automation, and we've done all of that with what I'll call transparency.
Yeah.
We understand exactly what the agent did, the decisions it made, and why it made those decisions.
And the impact of this is huge. I mean, recall back to our private health insurance company. They have 65 people working hundreds of thousands of items today. And we're going to cut that volume in half thanks to our automation. So I could probably walk off the stage right now having sufficiently blown the minds of everyone in this room. But if we have just one more minute, and it looks like we do, I have just one more thing I'd like to show. Because we are using the Content Innovation Cloud and all of the data within is AI ready, we can glean incredibly deep insights. So let's dive into knowledge discovery. Here, directly linked from my Alfresco interface. And we now have this in all of our Hyland platforms, the ability to dive right into knowledge discovery, to ask a big question and get meaningful answers. So on the left-hand side, you'll see our search assistants. Think of these as content specialists with domain expertise. Our claims specialist, for example, has access to our Alfresco invoices, what we just saw, and it's built with MetaLlama. So let's ask our specialist a big question. And if you'll bear with me, let me just copy. You don't have to watch me type. Let's say we want to know, as an example, right, which medical procedures are most frequently missing a doctor letter of medical necessity. If we have this information, then maybe we can revise our process and improve it going forward. So when I click go, our agent gets to work reviewing vast amounts of data that no human ever could in such a short amount of time. And we quickly learn which procedures are missing them the most. And what's the impact or the outcome of this? Well, now the insurance company is processing claims with a lot less overhead. But probably more importantly, the policyholder, the patient, gets reimbursed with a lot less friction and receives the best possible care. Mic drop moment, if you ask me.
Absolutely fantastic, Colleen. Thank you very much, Donald.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you very much. So you've understood where we are with the Content Innovation Cloud. You've understood the delivery against the roadmap. You've understood that it's available here, and you've seen everything that it can do thanks to Colleen's demonstration here. What I'd like to do is ask you to help me welcome Jitesh back to talk about where we're going next. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nicely done. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Great job as always. Okay, so we said we would do it, and we did it. We launched this vision to redefine the industry with the Content Innovation Cloud, and what Colleen and Mike just showed you are all the incredible innovations that the team has delivered that are now available in region. So now the question is, the fun doesn't stop. Where do we go next? How do we now build on this foundation to power your enterprise AI for you to realize ubiquitous enterprise intelligence? So I mentioned we're in this era of ubiquitous intelligence and automation, but what does that look like for your enterprise? We're very intentional. We're not ubiquitous intelligence for your personal use or your family. We're focused on the enterprise. We're focused on your organizations. Well, we built the foundations with the Content Innovation Cloud. We embraced fragmentation and unified your content through a federated architecture. We AI-enabled your processes. You saw Colleen and Mike demonstrate that. And we're delivering AI-powered application experiences. So where do we go from here? And where we're headed next is to radically expand the strategy and the definition of the Content Innovation Cloud. Behind content intelligence, process intelligence, and application intelligence are hundreds of millions to billions of artifacts. Document artifacts, process artifacts, application artifacts, and we are now linking them all together. We unified them individually, The next part of the master plan is to relate and connect the people that are making the decisions with the documents that they're relying on to make the decisions, with the processes that they are making decisions within to operate their organization, and the systems that they rely on. We are realizing a living record of your enterprise with the industry's first and industry's only enterprise context engine, responsible for real-time context assembly and management, enabling critical agent context engineering and continuously learning. As your organization changes, as your processes change, as your organization evolves, it too evolves in real time. A living record for your enterprise to deliver enterprise context, ubiquitous enterprise intelligence. All of this built on our federated architecture to enable you to work in AI power and realize context from Hyland repositories, other repositories, but also other structured data sources and systems of record. Through federation, through governance, through AI powered, this is a new layer in the Content Innovation Cloud that is going to be powering all the knowledge and automation cloud services that Colleen just shared with you. It's going to be powering intelligent document processing. It's going to be powering context enrichment. It's going to be powering automation, agent lifecycle management, and of course, knowledge discovery. This is an immense amount of innovation that we've delivered, and now we're radically expanding, and now we're going to deliver even more. So the question is, how are we going to do it? I'm not going to do it. What I want to introduce to you now, who I want to introduce to you now, is our Chief Technology Officer, Tim McIntyre. Please join me in welcoming Tim. Tim, welcome.
Thank you.
Before we get into how we're going to build and continue to execute at this breakneck speed, Tim, why don't you share a bit about your background, about yourself, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, well, Jitesh, I was incredibly excited to join Hyland. I've spent my entire career in the enterprise data space, solving some of the largest analytics problems at scale. I spent the last 8 years at Teradata in the structured data space. Mm-hmm. And prior to that, I had a long run at a startup, and in many ways, I relate my experience at Hyland closer to the startup experience than Teradata. The way Hyland's been able to innovate and be agile, and the opportunity we have at Hyland is 100% why I'm here. And this company is operating like $1 billion startup. It's super fun.
We like fun. We like fun. So you've been here for 6 months, 5 months?
Yeah, about 6 months now.
6 months.
Yep.
Any notable highlights, any notable observations?
Yeah, so anytime as a technologist that you join a new company, you can't know exactly what to expect. I had watched Hyland from afar. It was clear the new leadership team was doing a lot that was exciting. But everybody's talking about AI right now, and everybody's got a great AI story. It's very hard to tell until you walk in the door what's actually real. And Hyland is walking the walk. I mean, we just saw that in the delivery and in Colleen's demo. Mm-hmm. And what has been delivered by the team in the past 12 months is just incredible. That through line from unstructured data, having access to metadata, structured data, to creating value from your enterprise content is the clearest through line I've observed in the technology industry as people make this shift by driving value with AI.
And so I couldn't agree with you more. Now we've radically expanded the Content Innovation Cloud's vision and strategy. Central to it is this new layer of intelligence called the Enterprise Context Engine. How is engineering going to, deliver next? What's next?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm incredibly proud of our global engineering team. The executive team over the last year has put about a 5x increase in innovation at Hyland. So that ability to deliver is just incredible. It's a combination of that investment, the talent of the engineering team, and being able to build on the existing ECM platforms that Hyland has sold and supported for years. Having a leverage point of working off of Alfresco, Nuxio, OnBase has allowed the company to innovate rapidly.
It's essential to our strategy. We meet our customers where they are. We want your investments to continue to scale and deliver value.
Yeah.
Super critical.
Yeah, agreed. And the enterprise context engine, that is going to be engineering's focus over the next 6 to 12 months. You're going to hear more about agents as well. I think we have another demo coming up. But the enterprise context engine really provides unique value. If you look at the large foundation models and the providers of large foundation models, they've already trained those models on every currently available publicly sourced data set. And what really makes enterprise context engine special is access to your data moat. And that access is specific to you. That's value you can create inside of your enterprise by marrying the metadata, unstructured data, structured content, the automated workflows that are specific to your enterprise. The next generation of value created in AI is not from publicly available data sets. Mm-hmm. It's from highly governed, highly secure data that's sitting in your enterprise so you can create competitive value against other people in your space. That's exactly what Hyland's providing in that first enterprise context engine. And this next 6 months, not only are we focused on that in engineering, but seeing what comes out of the enterprise context engine from our customers will be very, very cool. I got one more note. On our focus, open source.
Yeah.
Hyland's got a long history of open source with Alfresco and Nuxio. And one thing I learned in the enterprise data space is that open access to data, transparency, is critical to customers, especially when they're deploying enterprise applications in the cloud, that connectivity to break down silos. So we have a long history of open source. You're going to be hearing more about that from John in a moment, but using those fundamentals from Alfresco and Nuxio and pushing open source into Content Innovation Cloud is another key focus for engineering moving forward.
Critical, 100%. Now, you mentioned the context engine. It's a major expansion of our strategy. When will our community here across EMEA get access? Looks like the answer is, why don't you share the news with everybody?
Well, we just announced the Enterprise Context Engine at CommunityLIVE in Las Vegas about a month ago. Yeah. And I talked about my excitement about how real all of Hyland's delivery is. Part of what's cool about CIC is the ability to continuously deliver new features, rapid, agile improvement to the software stack. So it was announced a month ago, we're delivering an Enterprise Context Engine this quarter, Q4 2025, starting with our data catalog and knowledge graph.
Awesome. So this quarter, in a matter of weeks, in region, you can start realizing the benefits of enterprise intelligence through our Enterprise Context Engine. I got to say, on behalf of the team, and certainly personally for me, thrilled to have you, not just because of your quarter zip top style, but because of all the amazing innovations we're going to be delivering. Tim, thank you. So we've been building the foundation collectively. We've launched new cloud and AI services. You see where we're going next to deliver on ubiquitous enterprise intelligence. Now, let me share with you how we're going to empower you to realize your agentic enterprise. So on this foundation of federated services connecting to your structured and unstructured data, ensuring it's governed, AI enabling it, through our context engine and all our knowledge and automation services, leveraging all of this, we are now going to start building not task-based agents, which is a lot of what Colleen shared with you, but teams of enterprise agents that are coordinating, collaborating, deciding, and acting to deliver specific outcomes within specific lines of businesses for specific use cases. And not just one team, multiple teams designed, implemented, innovated by us, implemented and innovated by you across your enterprise, across all your lines of business. What we call the enterprise agent mesh, realizing order within your enterprise AI landscape. What does order mean? This agent mesh is going to be able to orient itself for the tasks and decisions it needs to make and perform. Based on that orientation and understanding, it can now go through the context engine and retrieve the information it needs from unstructured data sources, from structured data sources, so that it can make the decisions. The agent mesh can now coordinate and decide, based on this information, what actions it needs to take and then execute them. And as it executes them, continuously review to ensure for governed execution, governed decisions, governed execution and actions. It has to be elastically scalable. It's going to deliver innovations through open and interoperable interfaces. You saw Colleen speak to Model Context Protocol as just one example of that. Governance, of course, is paramount with the nature of the mission-critical data that we're working with and the nature of the mission-critical workflows and business processes we're enabling. Security is, of course, critical, but as I mentioned earlier, transparency is paramount for all of us as operators to get confidence in the agent mesh, what it's doing, what decisions and actions it's taking, so that we know that not only is it governed, it is operating within the parameters it's supposed to do so. This enterprise agent mesh, built leveraging all the underlying innovations that we've already built, that we plan to release as early as Q4 with the context engine, and leveraging our depth of industry expertise, we are delivering the industry's first healthcare enterprise agent mesh. Insurance, banking, government, higher ed enterprise agent meshes, and enabling all of you, our partners and our customers, to build your own bespoke enterprise agent meshes. We're doing this to help you realize your incredible and exponential outcomes, to help you AI enable yourselves, your organization, and deliver incredible outcomes to all of those that you serve. So that's what we're doing. Now I'd like to invite Tess Van Hoff to show us some of these early prototypes that the team has built in action and how we're going to realize ubiquitous enterprise automation. Tess, welcome up.
Thank you. So glad to be here. Hi, everybody. Hello. Yeah.
So I've shared with our community here all the amazing innovations to realize ubiquitous intelligence and automation in the enterprise. Are you ready to make good on the promise?
Yes, absolutely. And let's ground this in a real world example. We're going to be talking today about the federal unemployment benefits process here in Germany, and more specifically how that plays out in Bavaria and Munich. For thousands of people in this region, this is a vital lifeline. But unfortunately, the process is often bogged down by complex regulations and manual review and administrative burden. And in addition to that, there's a pretty large financial impact. There's so many objections and appeals, in fact, over 400,000 just last year by applicants, that result in very costly downstream rework. But of course, the financial impact is only part of the story. There's a human impact as well. We have human caseworkers that are spending hours, if not days, on administrative tasks, which is unfortunately pulling them away from the people who need their support most.
A critical scenario, certainly in region in Germany, but for every state,
Yes.
every federal government, every province.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and
Shall we see
luckily,
it in-
yes, we should, because with the power of the Hyland Agent Mesh and Enterprise Context Engine, we're able to reimagine this process, right? So we're going to see a daily case throughput increase of 40%. We'll save our caseworkers hundreds of hours monthly, and that's just scratching the surface. So yeah, let's take a
see
look.
it in action.
Yes, absolutely. So I am going to start out here as an applicant on a government benefits website where unfortunately I need to apply for unemployment. So I'm going to click apply now, and I am greeted by my application assistant who is assuring me that they're going to help me get through this process as seamlessly and easy as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and click get started. And I need to provide, of course, my reason for unemployment. So I am going to enter I was given notice. And we'll click submit. And then the next step, of course, is I need to provide some supporting documentation. So we've got the documents that are needed listed right there. I'm just going to browse out and find what I've compiled here. And once that's uploaded, we'll click submit. And this is where the magic really starts to happen. So our application assistant agent is actually invoking a mesh of agents that are going to power this process. So they're first off orienting themselves to all of that information that I just provided, analyzing the documents, validating that I am who I say I am, and of course that everything I provided is legitimate. And then from there, they'll go out and retrieve whatever additional information they need. So you can see they're reviewing statutes and eligibility guidelines, cross-referencing other internal and external sources like public databases, so that they can validate, employment duration, my residence, social insurance contributions, and so on.
Critically empowered by our federated architecture
That's
that
right.
connects to multiple sources, along with our own repositories.
Absolutely, yes. And then from there, they can determine eligibility for additional programs, and then ultimately make that decision on my eligibility for benefits. And once the decision is made, execute on that, which in this case means filling out my application for me, so I don't have to do all of that work, and then continually reviewing and providing me now a summary of that decision. So we can see that based on the documents, it was able to complete my application. I can see my caseworker assigned here. They're going to reach out within a day for my initial consultation appointment. So I'm just going to verify here that I've got it. And what's great here too is that it's also now providing me those additional programs that I have access to during my time of need. So it's saving me the time of having to go find those. I can begin the application here. Again, just really connecting me to all the support.
Not just the specific benefit that Marcus was applying for, but other programs offered by the government.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, all available here for me. And so what would normally take hours, if not days, our Hyland Agent Mesh was able to accomplish in, a matter of moments here.
All of this entire website powered by our Hyland Agent Mesh, it looked far too simple. What kind of, wizardry, sorcery are we talking about here?
Exactly. What is this
magic?
wizardry? What is this magic? So I thought you might ask. I've got some slides prepared to help us just visualize what's really happening behind the scenes. So if we could switch back to our slides here just briefly. Roll. There we go. So we just saw our agents orient themselves to that information, retrieve what else was needed, make a decision, execute on that, and continually review with that one unemployment application that I submitted. But of course, this scales to the hundreds of applications that are processed daily within this region. And only a few of those are actually going to need human interaction. And why is that? Well, of course, because this isn't just one agent we're talking about. It's an entire mesh of agents. And each agent is focused on a specific goal or task, but again, aligned to the overall goal of that mesh. And it's powered by, as we saw, the Enterprise Context Engine. So they will have access to historical data and institutional knowledge, which will ensure sound reasoning and confident decisions by these agents. And of course, this also expands beyond just unemployment benefits to all of the core areas within this agency. And all of these meshes will be able to collaborate via Model Context Protocol, or MCP, which again is that open standard for interoperability, which means the collaboration can actually extend beyond these Hyland agents to other non-Hyland agents and systems as well.
This is an example of, we're all knowledge workers, we're all innovators in our respective industries, and the context engine is in unlocking knowledge now, not just for all of us as people, but also for teams of agent meshes.
That's right.
Very cool. So we can all now go play golf, having a multi-month long Oktoberfest? Is that the
right.
plan?
That's
or
exactly it. Right. Not
what
exactly.
do the rest of us do?
There's still plenty of work to go around, right? We've got agents powering a lot of this, but there will certainly be instances where humans still need to interject. So let me show you an example of what that might look like. So we're going to go back to our demo. And in this case, I'm going to switch personas here now to that of a caseworker who's supporting this unemployment benefits process. So you can see I'm here on my caseworker dashboard, loads of information for me. I've got some metrics provided by my mesh. I've got a list of all of my cases below that I could expand upon. But up here at the top are the cases that are requiring my attention. So I'm going to click in and review this case that's got some discrepancies that have been flagged. And as I click review, my agent mesh is working to provide me with a real-time user interface with all of the most relevant information related to this case. So you can see here at the top, I've got a nice simple description. We know this is related to Marcus's application. It was submitted today, and it's under discrepancy review. And the reason that we're looking at this is because our agents have flagged some data discrepancies, and it needs a human to intervene. Now below this is where it starts to get pretty interesting, because although, yes, we have these data discrepancies, our agents were able to identify, explain, and resolve each one for us. So we can see below for each discrepancy what that explanation is and what the overall resolution was. So our agents were able to basically reconcile the address mismatch, the employer name mismatch, and then also confirm the cross-border employment duration as well. So all of that was done for us, and I can see their explanation here. So at this point, I feel confident saying these discrepancies are not actually discrepancies. They've been resolved. Our agents are giving us a little note to add to our case here so we know exactly what happened. I'll click submit. And at this point, I feel very confident going ahead and approving Marcus for benefits on the very same day that he applied.
You know, what's interesting is the agents knew what to do. They had explanations for all the discrepancies, but they still escalated to a person.
Yes.
Why is that?
The reason for that is because of the guardrails that are in place. So we had a rule in place saying, hey, if there are 3 discrepancies, we need a human to intervene. And every organization will have the ability to create your own decisioning framework around escalation. So we're not just giving these agents unencumbered decision-making access, right? There will be guardrails in place. But I also want to note, agents are providing us with new levels of transparency that we've never seen before. All of these agent decisions, all of this institutional knowledge is no longer trapped up in somebody's brain. It's evident and it's auditable. So it's a wonderful level of transparency.
Governed decisions and actions, and transparency is key for confidence and adoption.
Absolutely.
So how are we demonstrating transparency, especially for many of the operators in this room?
Yes.
That need to demonstrate to the business and to regulators that the right decisions and actions are being taken?
I'm glad you asked. I am going to head over now to my admin dashboard. So this is going to give me a view at my entire enterprise mesh. So I can see the health of these agents and some relative statistics and KPIs here. But I'm going to go ahead and drill into our unemployment insurance mesh, which is obviously the one that we've been working with thus far. And we've got a nice view of our mesh here. I'll just very quickly expand. We've got some lovely agent mesh KPIs as well that are being provided again, so we can keep track of the system and business performance here. But if we come back to the mesh itself, we start to get an idea of how this was set up and really structured in the first place. If you look to the left, our unemployment assistant agent, who we've been interacting with thus far, is our orchestrator. So they're essentially kind of leading the charge here. They're passing work and context to the various agents and making sure that all of their outputs are aligning with the overall goal.
The manager of the team.
Exactly, yes, that's a great way of looking at it. Now, if I wanted to add an additional agent to this mesh, I could click Add Agent here, select from my existing library, or certainly go ahead and create a new agent. But for the sake of time, we're going to go ahead and drill into one of our existing agents, in this case, our data verifiers. So again, on our dashboard here for this particular agent, we've got loads of really helpful KPIs, but we're here to see the transparency. So I'm going to click to our agent activity tab, where we see an account of all of the actions and decisions made by this agent. And certainly we can drill into each one. I'll take a look at Marcus here. And here it is. Here's a full log of all of the activity from this agent. We can see the sources that were looked at, the application process, the decisions, the reasoning, all of it. And then to the right, we have those guardrails that were in place. So we can ensure that at the time of the decision, the agent was operating as it was supposed to. Now, I can appreciate that this might feel pretty futuristic for some of you out there, but I want to assure you that it's really not as futuristic as it seems. In fact, if I come to my configuration tab here, we're presented with the exact same agent builder screen that we saw Colleen present just earlier. So the tools to realize this future exist today and are available.
And this is where, this is the power of cloud. We are building. These are capabilities that exist today, and as we launched the context engine in Q4, you heard Tim say it, and we build and release these new agent mesh capabilities, they're automatically going to be available in the CIC, in region, for you to automatically benefit from. It's a key part of how we're accelerating our innovation. You don't have to wait every 12 months. We're releasing on a monthly basis.
Yep, within our single integrated cloud platform. And I'm glad you mentioned cloud, because I can't help but say, it wasn't all that long ago that cloud use within government was banned, right? And not too long before that email and internet usage was heavily restricted. I guess my point being that a lot of these technologies that are initially deemed risky end up becoming commonplace. So I think right now, here in this era of agentic AI, we all have a wonderful opportunity to really take the reins and level up. And the great news is this evolution is built on your existing foundation.
Amazing stuff, Tess.
Yeah.
Round of applause for Tess.
Yeah. Thanks, Jitesh.
Tess just demonstrated the incredible power of the enterprise context engine delivering ubiquitous enterprise intelligence, that living record and understanding, so that decisions can be made with that context, with that knowledge, and then through it, the ubiquitous automation from an agent mesh of workers that are able to benefit from this context so that they can make the decisions. The very things that 95% of those existing Gen AI projects are struggling with. Context, so they can make decisions and actions and orchestrate. This is a radical redefinition of everything we've all collectively worked on for a few decades now. We are redefining the content services, content management industry because it's time to redefine it. Because the opportunity to unlock incredible value from your unstructured data is greater than ever before, and it's possible. I spent 14 years in the structured data world, and I'd get asked, Jitesh, I love that you've transformed structured data management from tools to this elastic serverless AI-powered platform. What can you do for my unstructured data? Didn't have any good answer. We do now. And the answer is for you to realize, leveraging these innovations, for you to realize these outcomes for your organization. Now, what gets me fired up and energized is redefining industries, redefining markets. And in my 18-month journey at Hyland, I met somebody else that's very comfortable in defining and pioneering industries and then redefining them. A person that needs no introduction, but he was the co-founder and CTO of Documentum. 10 years later, after it being wildly successful, decided to leave and then blow up the definition of ECM with open source with the launch of Alfresco. And then after we acquired Alfresco, he happily retired, spending time between the US Virgin Islands and Maidenhead outside of London. And then we got to chatting, and John Newton said, you know what, I wanna join in on the fun. I wanna join Hyland. So please welcome John as our Chief Innovation Strategist. John, welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be back in Munich as well. It's been a while.
I appreciate the quarter zip style. It seems to be this emerging theme. Mike, we got to get you on the program. So John, of course, we've been having a lot of fun innovating, thinking through use cases, thinking through how to unlock greater value. by innovating with 80 to 85% of an enterprise's data, it's unstructured data.
Yeah.
Would love for our community here to get your perspective on why does ECM, why do content services and the use cases, and why do they need to be redefined?
Well, when we first spoke, I said that I'm constantly thinking about how would I do it all over again. But there's one problem that I'd been working on for a very long time, which is how do we integrate AI and apply AI into enterprise content management? I think the first thoughts about this go all the way back to Documentum, and actually go all the way back to when I was a kid with Star Trek. I want to be able to interact with those systems just like Spock did. But we tried, and we had some of the most advanced technologies with things like the original AWS AI services, such as comprehend and recognition. But now, it hasn't even been 3 years yet, but once ChatGPT came on the stage, it was clear, it was finally ready. You could actually start to see how it could get applied to enterprise content management. I actually spent too much of my retirement thinking about that problem because it's so exciting.
Yeah, it's the maturity of the models, generative or predictive, as well as the rapid enhancements on the compute, on the hardware infrastructure side, so that we're not spending, thousands, millions of dollars doing it in a more economical form factor.
Yes.
So in this process of redefining the value that organizations unlock from unstructured data as well as structured data, we defined the Content Innovation Cloud. Now, you heard Tim speak to how with Alfresco and Nuxio, core to our DNA is continued investment in open source. How are we thinking about open source as we redefine ECM content services with CIC?
Well, first of all, there's been a lot of investment in the core capabilities. As you can see in here, there's a lot of open source already in there, coming from Alfresco and coming from Nuxio, and a lot of other open source tools as well. Open source is defining what artificial intelligence is. But I think that the opportunity here is to be able to take these open source types of technologies and expand them even further. To be able to work with the community to figure out new ways that maybe we haven't even thought about in terms of how AI integrates with your content, your information, the relationships between that and your operational systems. So, I think that the opportunity with open source is going to be so huge to be able to apply to this. And I think, we've got some things in the works here.
Well, we certainly launched this, but would love for you to share how we're thinking about it with the latest cloud content repository.
So, the cloud content repository is the best of Alfresco and Nuxio combined, and actually taken a level higher to be able to go even faster than before. So we have made available the core of the Content Innovation Cloud, which is how all the federation happens, how all the scalability happens, and how all that discovery and ingestion happens, and we're making that open source. The core pieces of it are now going to be available and contributed to the Alfresco community so that you can actually start to see how this internals work. And there are new programming models around this as well. So you can get familiar with those and actually learn how to take and extend it. I'd love to be able to collaborate with you guys as you come up with some great ideas that maybe we haven't even thought of. So this is going to be available. It's in the process. It's in the works to be able to go into GitHub with the Alfresco GitHub project. And it's got AI-ready capabilities. You're going to be ingesting And some of those capabilities you saw in terms of being able to ask questions is already built in. Some of the engineers from Nuxio actually went through and streamlined this. And this is going to be one of the fastest things you've ever seen. Fast going in and fast coming out. And then also the scale of this. I don't know if there's going to be limits to this. There are going to be practical limits to this, but it's just going to be super scalable overall. So this doesn't replace Alfresco. This doesn't replace Nuxio. This doesn't replace OnBase. This is a new thing. This is like a content lake type of capability. It's a content repository that's designed for scale and to be AI ready, to be complementary to those other systems.
And this exists today. All the demos you saw are running, leveraging the Cloud Content
Yes.
Repository. You mentioned this is going to be contributed to the Alfresco open source project next year. Why is that?
Well, we're getting it ready. It is built from a lot of open source capabilities, but we want to make sure that it's possible for you to actually look at your applications and start to figure out how can you build against this repository as well as Alfresco, as well as Nuxio as well, with these new programming models and capabilities. So we're preparing that, getting it ready. We're getting ready to engage you with the community with all the tools that are needed to be able to take and work with us and contribute toward it.
I have a dedicated 1 hour every week with John, which is one of the things I look forward to, is because that's one of the few times I can talk shop. I can talk innovation, I can talk use cases, I can talk tech. And John, it's been a pleasure having you. Looking forward to redefining the industry together.
Great, thanks.
So, we shared with you today how we've been collectively building that foundation through the foundations of ECM. How we, Hyland, have been innovating to launch these new content, process, and application intelligence services so that you can start building the foundations for your enterprise AI. We shared with you how with the context engine, you can realize ubiquitous intelligence, and with the agent mesh working with all the layers of CIC, critically including the context engine, we are realizing and delivering ubiquitous automation. Now, as I think through what an amazing and unique time in our industry, in the world, to leverage this extremely powerful technology against data and workflows and applications that all of us have collectively built and delivered to our organization, I've reflected on all the previous technology waves. You heard some of them. But I'll go back to mainframe. Then it was mini computers. Then it was personal computers. Then it was the internet and social mobile cloud. And every one of these technology waves has delivered an immense amount of value, an immense amount of productivity, really transformed industries globally, transformed how we work. One observation that's kind of fascinating is across all of these technology waves, what it has required from us is to spend more time with screens, more time with our laptops, our desktops, our tablets, our mobile devices. What's unique about this wave, and a lot of what you saw Colleen and Tesh share, is that unlike all of those waves, this technology wave promises to unburden us from the mundane, unburden us from clicking, approve, decline, request for more information, searching and parsing documents to make rudimentary decisions that can now be made with predictive and generative models. It's unburdening us from all of that so that we can actually spend more time with each other. And as we work with each other, the greatest asset that we have is to then solve the toughest problems for our organization, the most challenging problems that we haven't had time to work on, to realize the incredible outcomes for all of those that you serve, your customers. Now, many of you have been delivering incredible life-changing outcomes with Hyland innovations over the many years, whether it's the Children's Hospital out of London, delivering critical care, driving operational automation through content and data to deliver seamless experiences for those children that need critical care the most. Or whether it's Rabobank, a major Dutch, one of the largest Dutch banks, but what's interesting is financing and supporting farming and agriculture globally, leveraging our technologies, all of it sitting again in Hyland Innovations to help them drive their operations so that they can deliver the incredible outcomes in supporting our global agriculture supply chain. Or Aviva, providing digital insurance offerings to ensure we have the coverage we need for peace of mind and financial security. Or Siemens, transforming transportation, transforming healthcare with immense innovations, and we are powering the automation of all of their document processing, all of their invoicing, so that they can focus on what truly matters. Or BBVA, driving the automation there to make them more productive, enable them to approve loans, drive credit financing products to help organizations start their businesses, to help people start and realize their futures. Or Barmer, and you'll be hearing from Barmer, they're going to be kind enough to speak later today, to ensure that you and your loved ones have the critical health insurance you need so that you can lead high-quality, healthy lives. And this one I really like is the National Archives of Malaysia. Leveraging Hyland's innovations, were able to resolve an international dispute with the Philippines on which country a given island in the archipelago belonged to. It belonged to Malaysia, and that was done through content and data powered by Hyland Innovations. Many of you are realizing life-changing, incredible outcomes now. You have been building this foundation, and you are delivering incredible value, whether or not you realize it. Oftentimes I hear, well, it's ECM. It's ECM, but what impact is it having on all of those that you serve? And now I'd like you to just pause and think through, in this era of ubiquitous intelligence and automation, just imagine the impact you can have on your organization. With the immense productivity and scale that presents itself to us on the foundation that all of you have been building, imagine the impact you can have on your organization. Imagine the impact your organization can have on the people you serve in your respective industries. You have been innovating with Hyland, and in this era of intelligence and automation, again, delivered by Hyland, as you embark on this new journey to realize these exponential outcomes, what I want to affirm for all of you is, as you do so, know that we, Hyland, the leader focused on delivering value from your most mission-critical data and business processes, has broken through. We've been the content leader, now we're the content data and AI leader, and we are innovating to support you and empower all of you to break through and realize incredible organizations for all of you and all of those that you serve. Thank you.